We've got beautiful weather outside. It's a 3-day weekend, and folks are thinking about Memorial Day, everything it means to them, and to those that have fallen, and they don't realize that we have a lot of water rolling down the Brazos River. So it's a beautiful day, and what we're trying to do is get the word out to folks that by tomorrow, we are going to be in major flood stage in the Brazos River here in Brazoria County. We're already at medium flood stage. We're going to be taking water on the County Road 25 soon, and by the end of the week, we are going to be, as projected, 53.5 to 54 feet Brazos River at Rocheron. This will be the second highest flood on record for the Brazos River in Brazoria County. Joining me today are our PIO officer, Sharon Trower. I've got Glenn Lamont, our second in command of emergency operations, and Commissioner David Linder from Precinct 4, where most of this water will be affecting folks. So this is our 4th time in the last year that the Brazos River is flooded. So we're concerned that people are thinking it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. We're going to see water up and down from Sandy Point on down south into the northern, just north of Lake Jackson. We're going to see many communities that are going to be impacted. Just to name a few: Holiday Lakes, Bailey's Prairie, Sandy Point, East Columbia, and possibly West Columbia, Brazoria, and along the west side of Angleton. The records flood was in 1913, and we're just going to be 2.5 or so feet below that. This is going to be a significant event. We have a lot of unknowns that we have going on here, and many factors working against us. I told one of the reporters the other day, the White House dumps out bad information on Friday afternoon because there's nobody there to read it. We have a 3-day weekend. We have a significant story that we need to communicate because it's happening fast, and we had that Friday afternoon, Saturday, as it's rolling out, and it's really concerning us. So the ground is wet. The creek is, Oyster Creek already has a lot of water in it. Water out of the Brazos River will be flowing into Oyster Creek, and so it will happen a little bit quicker than what we have seen in our last 3 floods. Many people here in Brazoria County remember the 1991, 92, and the 94 floods, where the river crested at 51.85 or so feet in Rocheron. We're projected to be a couple of feet higher than that. So this is of great concern, and areas that have not flooded since 1913 are going to flood. And with so many changes that we have seen throughout the county and up north of us, we really can't tell you, and we really don't know what all those effects are going to be. The main thing we're trying to communicate today is that citizens that are in those communities need to be ready and prepared. Get their livestock out now. Be prepared to get themselves out fairly quick notice, because it will be very difficult, and we don't want to put anybody that we don't have to put into harm's way to go get them. We don't know how long this event's going to last. We don't know how bad it's going to be, other than we know it is going to be a significant event. We already have shelters that are, one is open here in Angleton. It will take up to 200 people. We have another shelter in Lake Jackson. We've got our Facebook page, our Twitter, our website that we are continually putting information out to folks. Kudos to our local newspaper. They've run 2 very good stories over the last couple of days, front page above the fold, that are helping get that information out. We appreciate the Houston media being here today to help get that information out to anybody that either, 1, may be out of town, or 2, just they're not on Twitter, Facebook. Also, we've had constables and volunteer firefighters going door to door, putting out flyers, letting folks know. We also have 8 message boards that are in affected areas, letting people know that flooding is imminent, to take action now, be ready to take action now. So with that being said, We appreciate y'all being here to help spread that word, and we'll open it up to any questions that you may have.
How soon will people actually start to see a change in the terrain?
We'll start seeing that tonight. County Road 25 will be taking water pretty quickly. This will be the 4th or 5th time in the last 12 months that County Road 25 has taken on water and will become impassable. That is both here in Brazoria County and in Fort Bend County. That will be the first area. We'll also see areas up around 1462 that will start getting roads will start getting wet, and it will start coming down County Road 36, 34, Sun Creek Ranch, and it will cascade down from north to south through the county. So we're going to start seeing, as I said, we're going to be a major flood stage tomorrow, and it will continue to climb 2.5 feet beyond that by the end of the week. So it's going to be a lot of water, and folks just need to be prepared now.
The number of people, what are we talking in the area?
There are not a lot of high concentrations. A lot of it is rural, but I would estimate 10 to 15,000 people that probably live from Oakwood Creek Estates, Bailey's Prairie, Bar X, on up Holiday Lakes, into Sun Creek Ranch, west of Rocheron, Sandy Point. I would estimate 10 to 15,000 people probably reside in those areas, and we'll see some effects from this, whether it's water in their homes or inaccessibility to their homes.
And to the people that want to hunker down, what do you want to say? That don't want to leave their homes?
They need to understand that it will be very difficult to get to them. In the 91-92 storm, we had folks that could not get to their homes for 30 days. And that was when the river topped out at 51.8 feet. And that was a prolonged crest for a couple of weeks. So there was a lot of water pouring in. So there may be some areas where people may not be able to get in via vehicle for weeks. And they need to understand a simple emergency, a simple slip, trip, break of a wrist. There's going to be a lot of wildlife that is going to be disturbed and moving around. A snake bite. It's not going to be simply we can get somebody to you quickly. So people need to be very diligent, and we would really hope that folks will get out before they get trapped in, because we really don't know how high this water is going to get. This is new territory. We haven't been anywhere in this neighborhood of water since 1957, before any of the three of us were born. So we don't have many of those old timers that are still around to tell us what happened in 57, nor we have developed a lot since then. This county has almost 350,000 people. Our good neighbors to the north, Fort Bend County, has over 700,000 people. It's all in the floodplain, so we've seen a lot of changes. So we cannot accurately predict what is going to happen. People need to be ready for anything that can happen. We've got more rain projected to happen later in the week. That will exacerbate the situation. So folks need to be ready, they need to be prepared, they need to be ready to get out. Get your valuables, get your livestock, and move to high ground.
Sounds as if you're knowledgeable of the low-lying areas and people that will be threatened the most. Right now, it sounds as if it's voluntary. Knowing that there are places that are going to be in harm's way, when will this become mandatory?
As we get into, as the situation evolves, and it's very dynamic. Right now, we're in voluntary evacuation for anybody that is in low-lying areas. We encourage them to be ready to get out. I'm not telling anybody at this point in time to get out. Be ready to get out. We may call in certain areas for mandatory evacuations. We're going to see as the situation evolves. It's not like a hurricane where it's a big slam event. This is a creeping up event. Unfortunately, fortunately, the last 2 or 3 floods we've had in the last 12 months we've known 4, 5, 6 days ahead of time because the water has fallen College Station to Waco, as well as down here. So we predicted the river modeling folks, we can see that water coming down, and people have had some lead time to get ready. Being that this major event happened up in the Hempstead, Brenham, Waller County, Grimes County, Brazos County, just on Thursday, it dropped a huge bubble of water just 100 miles north of us. And so, being on a Friday after, or Thursday night, and Friday we had 4 to 7 inches of rain here, we're soaked. So it's happening a little quicker than the last few events.
Building on that, are you at all, based on what you know, are you at all anticipating a mandatory evacuation?
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. I'm not going to say at this time that we are going to call, but if we get some areas that are going to be really hard hit, we may call for mandatory evacuations. We always like it to be voluntary, but we may call for mandatory as needed.
Most of this water is coming from downflow, correct?
This is all runoff from the large storms that we had Thursday and Friday. I'm sure you guys were, Thursday night, y'all were up in Waller and Grimes County and Brenham. The massive, I mean, they're calling it historic flood. Richmond's going to see 2 to 3 feet above their all-time high, so at their crest. So this is, like I said, the sun is shining outside. It was shining outside yesterday and today. This is runoff that's coming down from the other storms. We're at the tail end of the river. And so everything that falls in the Brazos River Basin, and the Brazos River is 1,200 or so miles long, and every drop of water that makes it into the river eventually passes through Brazoria County. And we're saturated. For the last year, year and a half, we have received massive amount of rainfall through the Colorado, the Brazos River basins. So there's a lot of water. We're wet. We were just a month ago, the river was over 51 feet, which is probably one of our 12 to 15 highest recorded levels ever. So we're just coming down from that. We have some low-lying areas where the river came out that are still holding water from that event. So we don't have that low-lying area, we don't have the ground absorption available to take any of the water. It's going to flow through a little bit quicker and get to us a little bit quicker than it has in the past.
I think most viewers are going to be trying to visualize the impact. But I think just looking at the situation up in Brenham where a farmer had over 850 cattle, he was only able to save 172. We're talking about water that's flowing down in the rivers. It's kind of hard to determine whether that's a threat to you versus what falls out of the sky. They had no idea they were surrounded by water until they were surrounded by water. But here
It's a different situation. We're flat. We have a very slight gradient. So we don't have the flash floods that you have in the Brenham area, College Station, Grimes County, those areas. Our terrain is different. We're flat coastal plains. So we don't have the flash floods where you have a wall of water coming down a creek and all of a sudden you get cattle and what have you underwater. It's a slower rise. It's somewhat predictable, and that's where we're at today. Is we know it's coming. We're trying to get that word out to folks to be prepared. That's the main thing we're trying to get today, because we want folks to. We don't want any loss of life. That's the last thing we want. We've been very fortunate we have not had that. We hope folks can take care of their livestock. We've got opportunities for them to move them to the fairgrounds so that they can get them out of harm's way. And folks are doing that. And we are encouraging them, because once we get to tomorrow afternoon and on Tuesday, it's going to change quite a bit. Folks may not be able to get to their livestock. So we're hoping they're taking care of that today.
in your estimates of the number of people that you will have to take in?
We really don't know. A lot of folks will have places to go. We've got the one shelter will have ability to take a couple of hundred. The Lake Jackson shelter, I'm thinking will take between 100 and 200. And beyond that, we've got great partnerships with the Salvation Army and the Red Cross. We'll work with them if we need to identify additional shelters. We'll work with them to make that happen.
Talk about how closely y'all are working with the cities that are anticipated to be affected, and the information that's passed back and forth between the two of them.
We're talking to the mayors and city administrators almost on an hourly basis. I know Commissioner Linder is in great communications with the cities that are in his precinct. I have talked to the mayors from West Columbia, Lake Jackson, Angleton, as well as the Mayor Pro Tem in Brazoria over the last day, and we continue to share information. We have a great partnership here. We have great groups, our volunteer fire departments, our emergency responders. We're all on the same page. We're working together. I don't know what we would do without, I'm going to pick on the Rochelle Volunteer Fire Department and Chief Stepchinsky. He is out driving the roads, and a lot of times he is our first call in. This road is taking water, as well as our road and bridge folks. We've got folks out and about looking and monitoring situations so that we know at the emergency operations centers when something is happening, so we can get that information out to the public via our Twitter, Facebook, and our website.
How frequently are they out monitoring?
They're out continually. We've got folks out continually. Our road and bridge folks, our superintendents, our foremen, they're out and about. We've got Chief Stepchinsky. The times I have been out under our last events, most of the time I run into him. He is out there. So in his folks, great group of folks, and they're a wonderful asset to us.
Any areas you expect to see change in right away, as in this evening, that you're keeping a close eye on?
This evening, County Road 25. That road will take water first. Mallard Lake area will take, and they've been through this. This is their 4th or 5th time in the last 12 months. Those folks know what to do. They're ready for it. They've been through it. Once we get down into Oakwood Creek Estates in the Bailey's Prairie area, Bar X, possibly into East Columbia, we're going to get more water into Holiday Lakes this time. They have pretty much dodged a bullet the last couple of floods. This is going to be much more significant.
How long is this expected to stay?
The crest right now is projected to be Thursday or Friday, and depending on, there are a lot of factors. A lot of this river modeling is not the most accurate. We will see the projected crest change as we go through the week. It'll change daily. May go up, may go down, but right now we are just below 54 feet is what's projected by Thursday or Friday. Depending on how much more rain falls in the immediate area, how much more rain falls into the watershed, a lot of that will have something to say about how long we will be in major flood stage. I anticipate for the next, we'll probably go into major flood stage, or we will go into major flood stage tomorrow. I'm anticipating at least a week at major flood stage or above, which is 51.3 feet. So I think for at least a week, maybe 10 days, it's going to be a dynamic situation.
Is this going to affect the school system in any way?
It will affect the schools somewhat. Most schools, I think, are out by Wednesday or Thursday of this week, so it will affect their bus routes. They are in communication with us, so it may affect them. A small portion of it's mostly the Angleton School District that will be affected, but we are in communications with them.
Obviously, I know that it's always County Road 25 that's going to be the first to close, but talk about any road closures you're anticipating or looking at more closely than others at this point.
We'll see road closures, 34, 36, just anything in that area that we've identified on the map, and we've got a copy of the map that's out on our website. I think you've got a copy of it there. There's potential for road closures in all of those areas. I anticipate, or I pretty well know, 1462, at Brazos River and around Oyster Creek, it will be underwater. We're working with our partners at TxDOT. They will have message boards up identifying and letting people know. Very possible that Highway 35 will receive water later in the week, Wednesday, Thursday timeframe, as the water cascades down. I anticipate in the Bar X area, I anticipate 35 quite possibly will have water over it. Any other questions? I want to thank you all very much for being here and helping us spread the word and educate our citizens of the threat that we have from all of these floodwaters. The main thing that we want to do is keep anybody from getting hurt or any loss of life. That is the absolute main thing. Property can be replaced, lives cannot be replaced. We're trying to be as proactive as we can to get the word out to folks, and we very much appreciate your partnership and your help in getting that word out. So thank you all very much.